Hello everyone, welcome back. Merry Christmas, kind of early. I won't be streaming tomorrow, and miraculously, yes, I am streaming today, so we really don't have too much to talk about. Today was a bit of a shorter day, no volatility at all. Markets closed at 1 p.m. as opposed to the usual 4 p.m. We're still going to have a great show tonight, so get ready. Bitcoin's current price has not moved an inch, 87,604 currently. My entry is still technically there, so it's turning green, it's turning red, it's not a big deal, really. I'm still expecting prices to drop. The super trend has not really moved, which is surprising to me. It should start moving downward soon to catch up with the downtrend line, obviously. Currently, the whole downtrend invalidates at 91,000. Not much has changed in that sense. We're still going to have a look at the other coins, see if we can find any potential entries or what to do with this case. It's rough. When there's no volatility, it's like, what do we even do? What's the point of crypto? What's the point of crypto? Could have bought the S&P 500 right now. We'd be at all-time highs and we'd all be happy. Do you see the posts that go on online where it's like boomers celebrating the fact that they've got the gold is at all-time high or something like that, and they just start dancing to this random song? It's pretty funny. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of what's going on, and we're just sitting here like, yeah, we had a decent run in the middle of the year, but now things are back to as if Kamala Harris would have won the elections. I say this as, you know, we would technically be a little higher. What would have happened in that case? Would Kamala Harris do any good for crypto? I feel like crypto would have still done its thing. It would have just taken longer. Maybe even now we would still be at these prices without all that crazy volatility because, I mean, believe it or not, Trump did bring the volatility, whether it was good or bad. So right now, like, Trump has not been talking much about crypto, and for whatever reason, the sentiment is just down right now. People feel like they had a good run with the huge rises that we did see, because we did see some good rises, but it was still not enough, what a lot of people felt, right? Everybody was expecting Bitcoin at 150,000 plus by now, and you'd be right to assume so. I would have also assumed that, but something is clearly different this time around. Maybe a lot of manipulation, some FUD that went against us, sure. But now we're just kind of accumulating at the bottom here, waiting to make the next leg up. I'm going to zoom out to a daily chart so we can kind of get a understanding as to where we kind of are. We were all the way up here, it was fine. Now we're just kind of consolidating down here. We're trapped by this little downtrend, which, in my opinion, should break pretty soon, hopefully by next year, of course, because it's going to be rough right now. We're not expecting much volatility, so I do expect us to follow the downtrend until maybe even, if not 80,000, you know, somewhere close to it before we make another bounce higher. We do need some more strength, something to push the price a little higher. What could bring that is maybe Friday's volatility. I don't know if that's hopium. This is a daily chart, so I think that's a little too early to be, and too much to be expecting of something so uneventful like that, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to do too much. Really, we're just going to have to wait for like actual economic data coming out basically next year. By the end of this year, there's really not much happening, so can't expect too much to go on there. In the meantime, what I will do is just continue accumulating and getting ready for the next leg up. I do think it is going to happen. I haven't given up hope. I still, like, the fundamentals are just too strong. It just makes sense for things to be rising, in my opinion. So that's my point of view. Yeah, crazy. No volatility today. It's pretty boring. But yeah, we're still going to analyze the rest. What else we got? Ethereum 2,945. I sold at an appropriate level, although we did drop a little lower than that. We hit a low of 2,887. I timed that short pretty well, actually, and that's obviously thanks to the super trend levels kind of telling me And also just my own basic understanding of the fact that we are in a downtrend and this should continue lower. So I was expecting us to bounce from here and head lower, and we essentially did do that. Still, though, supertrend has not fallen, so it's still at 3,100 where the downtrend invalidates, meaning that if we do rise to these prices over here again, no guarantee that it's going to continue higher, and it might even just continue dropping. All we would have to do is just adjust whatever downtrend line with whatever high point that we get from it. So wouldn't expect too much from it in that case. Current price of Ethereum, 2,946. Not a lot of movement either. Solana, same deal, not a lot of movement. $122.60. Contrary to the rest, Solana does have a downtrend that is lowering, right? The super trend, what I mean. Which is good. It's not good that it's in a downtrend, but it's good that we are finally getting some movement with this price action. I feel like this is kind of what to expect from it. I like that. Well, I don't like the, once again, I don't like the downtrends, but I like that this is following the technical analysis that I do. So as of right now, it invalidates at 130. I don't think it's going to stop there. It might continue lower. It might slow down around this area, but maybe we do have to round it up to 130, wherever the low point ends up being, wherever it stabilizes. And the support level, which we hope we do not hit, is 116 or 117. That's all really for Solana. Zcash, for whatever reason, is up 6 or 7%. There you go. $442.37. Same deal here. And I feel like I might go ahead and short this. What do you guys think? Everything else is in a downtrend. We were very overbought around these prices. And slightly overbought around here, which means... what does this mean? Yeah, I think I might short this one. Where is that line? I don't know. This is pretty strong, this rise over here, and I don't know why suddenly Zcash, the only one that made this kind of move. I wonder if that other coin, Monero, did the same thing or not. They're right next to each other, or were. What happened to Zcash? Well, we dropped a lot in market cap. Monero isn't rising at all today, so it's not a privacy thing. Ignore this. It's not a privacy-related thing. Something specific to Zcash, then. We can figure this out. A technical rebound. No, that's not it. Institutional validation. Grayscale talking good about it for 2026. Nice. Grayscale Zcash Trust holding 1.9% of the circulating supply. They're bullish on Zcash. Okay, well, no real reason. I feel like it would be appropriate to short this. So the downtrend invalidates. I do want to draw this out first before I make any stupid decision. Right over here at 460.36. Please let me draw this. 460.36. And same thing here. Now I can go to the 15-minute chart and kind of, you know, that will help me determine how high do I expect this thing to rise. Although, I don't know, I kind of think it might start dropping soon. Our local high, I'm just going to mark this as a resistance, was this 457.68. Back to 15-minute chart. I feel like this is too far for me to be putting any stop loss positions, although I'd put it around this area, and price is currently on the rise. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait for one more, if this does happen, one more rise like this, because I feel like it might. Whether that ends up happening here, here, or here, as long as it doesn't go like above this and, you know, close a 4-hour candle above the 460 levels, I would expect one more rise. I feel like it can do it still. It's got whatever strength going on for it, so it might be able to hit that. Or maybe I'll just regret this. Maybe I'm focusing on the levels too much. Because if I was to short this right now, I'd want, like, ideally, ignoring these two lines up here, I'd want the stop loss to be something like this. A little tight. I like it tight. Then we drop it down. We get a good risk-reward ratio, right? 1 to 3, let's just say, even if we drop too close to these low levels that we recently hit. Because if I drag this up all the way over here, or up here even, I start getting a really bad risk-reward ratio if I just, enter right now. That's why if I do expect price to make one more rise to approach this kind of area, then I'd do the same thing and I'd probably have a better risk-reward ratio. Although it'd be unrealistic for me to actually, like, buy right over here, because this is implying I'm buying when price is doing this, which obviously I'm not going to predict where it's going to drop. I'm going to wait for a drop to happen first, and then I'll have an idea as to where to enter, and it'll be something like this. Readjust the downtrend line and it'll look like that, and you've got a trade that could potentially go in your favor for a short position, right? Maybe. Obviously this is not going to happen. I'm like projecting what could happen. You're obviously going to see like a downtrend kind of happen like this, and you'd be able to take some profit from that, hopefully. That's kind of my vision for it. So I'm going to wait it out a little more, especially because it's Christmas, no volatility, nothing's going to happen. This is a 24/7 market though, so you can't rule out the fact that yes, we can make a decent rise like this. That would be your opportunity to short. So for now, I'm staying out of it. And also, what is up with the negative funding rate? What are we doing here? Okay, ignore that then. SUI, $1.41. What do you call this chart pattern? It's literally not moving. This downtrend line, it was looking good, but just gonna have to readjust it now because time is kind of pushing the downtrend line forward a little more, which is fair. The downtrend super trend itself, it invalidates at 152 and it's on its way down still. So it hasn't really stabilized at a specific price. I'd estimate about 150 maybe as a good resistance for SUI. Ignore these other resistance levels. Yes, SUI is a volatile coin, but it's going to take a while. Either way, I do expect it to decay around 130. You should expect something similar with Solana with dropping to 117. Let's just say, for example. So that kind of same effect is what we could expect for SUI, and same deal with Solana. When it comes to Ethereum, I don't really talk about how low it can go. It's probably going to stay above 2,800. That's another level you could look for as support. Zcash is doing its own thing, which we just reviewed. Hyperliquid, what are we doing here? $26.90 is where the downtrend invalidates. I'm liking this setup for Hyperliquid so far because it seems like this downtrend line can break pretty soon. When it does and I get confirmation of that, I'll enter at the minimum retracement to go higher, if you know what I mean. So what I'm trying to say is, yeah, if we get something, okay, that's terrible. If we do something like this, where, the super trend itself starts getting confirmed that yes, we can break it, and we do break it, this downtrend line will be gone, basically. So you would essentially delete this, and the super trend itself will flip into the green, which would probably stabilize around down here somewhere. And after we make like a low kind of like this and we are about to head higher, then that is when I would feel comfortable entering long, stop loss below that, go hard with a take profit. And it would look good, hopefully. I don't know. Maybe I will be better with my precise entries, but for now this is kind of what I'm hoping to see with Hyperliquid. Otherwise, if things just go to trash, then you're expecting a low of 21.50, which nobody wants to see that. Hyperliquid at $20. This thing used to cost $50 back in my days, so I don't know. Good decentralized exchange still. That's not changed. Chainlink is at $12.30. Pretty dead right now here as well. The super trend is on its way down though. That's good for us because the sooner we get out of it, the better. And this comes after, Chainlink barely moving anywhere. We didn't make any newer lows or anything like that. So I like the setup so far. Same deal. It might take time though. Okay. Yeah, not really much else to say for Chainlink other than stuff that I've already talked about in previous days. BitTensor having a bit of a relief from the low points that we saw yesterday, which was brutal. We had 206 as a new low point for BitTensor. AI tokens seems to have died. I don't know. Everything seems to have died, even meme coins. What do we even do with all this stuff? But yeah. 219.03 is where we have recovered to. We can hopefully hit 234, 235 maybe, to break the downtrend and continue higher from here, which I do see a good setup with BitTensor too. So I'm hopeful for that. We'll see what happens. Still got to wait it out though. Aptos maintaining itself relatively stable here. I like that. $1.63. I've always mentioned the 170. That hasn't really changed. 170 is what's required to break whatever downtrend we have here, so we can continue higher, hopefully, for this one. That is all. That is all for the crypto trends analysis. Might review other ones later on, but that's really all I have for this. Let's get into the news. We do have not a lot of stuff to talk about, so it might go by a little quick, but hey, we still managed to fill up the hour. We're fine. I don't know why I'm going like over 1 hour with my streams. I originally had a target of like 40 minutes per stream, and then I just ramble on so long that it just ends up going over an hour. And I don't even know if it's entertaining or not, but hey, whatever. I try to explain my mind as best as I can, so that's what we're trying to do here. Trump posted this on Truth Social. Merry Christmas to all, including the radical left scum that is doing everything possible to destroy our country, but are failing badly. He basically goes on to brag about what we've achieved so far. We no longer have open borders. We don't have men and women sports, transgender for everyone, or weak law enforcement. What we do have is a record stock market and 401ks. I thought we don't look at the stock market, Trump. And by the way, yes, stock market is at all-time highs, which we will talk about more in detail. 401ks, lowest crime numbers in decades, no inflation, and yesterday a 4.3 GDP, 2 points better than expected. Okay, you're exaggerating the numbers, but sure. Tariffs have given us trillions of dollars in growth and prosperity. No, it's only been 200 billion. And the strongest national security we have ever had. Although we are expecting trillions from tariffs, by the way, so sure, technically, sure. We are respected again, perhaps like never before. God bless America, President DJT. Thank you for the Christmas wishes, indeed. More Epstein stuff. Let's go. So, people are rage baiting the Department of Justice. We talked about the letter that was allegedly sent by Epstein to Larry Nassar, another fellow sex offender. What? Alleging that Donald Trump shares their love in young girls, okay? There was that one note, which was proven fake because it was not in Epstein's handwriting, which we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, we had a lot of new Epstein files. The fake letter, they're saying it just serves as a reminder that because a document is released by the Department of Justice doesn't mean that the allegation is factual. Nevertheless, we will continue to release all materials required by law. And then people started asking more questions. So why would the Department of Justice publicly release something that is fake? Your answers, please. And they said, what are you, crazy? Because the law requires us to release all the documents related to Jeffrey Epstein in our possession. So that's what we are doing, regardless if they are factual or not. You dope. That's what they call them. Who runs this account? Are you suggesting we break the law? And then you get community noted and fact checked by a lot of people. Are you suggesting we break the law, they said. And, well, they did kind of break the law. The Epstein Files Transparency Act required the Department of Justice to fully release qualifying Epstein files by December 19, which they didn't do that. And that was already breaking the law with its delays and over-redactions. Redacting stuff that you're not supposed to redact, such as photos of Guillen Maxwell. No, I'm kidding. Such as the co-conspirators or people who are the bad guys, I guess. You're only supposed to redact minors and victims and other sensitive information like that. Not the bad guys, but it seems like everything was redacted either way. And we already figured out how to unredact a lot of the stuff. But it seems like, I don't know, I didn't find anything yet that unredacts who the bad guys are, if that is even mentioned. They did start speculating that who some of the bad guys might have been. The 10 co-conspirators. One of them, it's on Polymarket. This is why we love Polymarket. Co-conspirators. Conspirators. Do we even talk about this here? No. Epstein. Who will be named. What? Elon Musk named? In review? Al Gore, Tony Blair, Oprah Winfrey. No, this is not it. Come on. There was one where it said, come on, where is it? Okay, I guess we're not going to find it. Whatever. But, yeah. It was some other guy. I don't even know who it was, but it was some other guy who was a high percentage chance that he was in the Epstein co-conspirators, whatever it was. And yeah, it's true. They did technically break the law by not releasing all the Epstein files on December 19th, which was highlighted in yellow here, not black. Get it? Because if you highlight it in black, you just copy paste it into a Word document and the black background is gone. The text remains. That was a big L by whoever was in charge of doing that. Thomas Massey doubled down here saying, yeah, you guys did break the law by making illegal redactions and by missing the deadline. Who is running this DOJ X account on Christmas Eve and using words like dope to refer to reporters? Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. I honestly did not even read this, but we think the same. That is crazy. Or maybe it's just the right thing to think about. Yeah, that's all we have for Epstein. Hopefully no more talking about the guy. Let him die. We have Ukraine coming out with their 20 points Ukraine peace plan. Out of nowhere, we finally got it. Okay, we're going to go through it all because I do want to know what they said. And if I remember what the Russian-American 24-point peace plan, or was it 28? I don't remember. But a lot of it obviously has been removed. Here's what Ukraine wants. Confirmation of Ukraine's sovereignty, yes. Non-aggression pact, signed between Russia and Ukraine, yeah. Ukraine will receive strong security guarantees, yeah. 4. Ukraine's peacetime armed forces will be limited to 800,000 personnel. I think this is up from 600,000, I think. I don't remember how much it was. But it seems like this is a higher number, in my opinion. I don't remember. You can fact check me on this. The United States, NATO, and Europe will provide Ukraine with security guarantees analogous to Article 5 of the NATO Charter. I don't think Russia's going to like that. I think they wanted like independent countries to help with the security guarantees, not NATO itself. I don't know though. In the event of a new Russian invasion, a military response and the reimposition of sanctions will follow, sure. Number 6, Russia enshrines a policy of non-aggression toward Europe and Ukraine in all relevant legislation. We already know that Russia's not going to do that. They will not invade the rest of Europe is what I mean. At least that's what Putin says. I don't know if the guy's lying. Ukraine becomes a member of the European Union within predetermined timelines with a fixed accession date. So they're not joining NATO, they're joining the European Union. I thought they already were, but okay. Sure. Formation of a global development package to be defined in a separate investment agreement. Okay. Creation of several funds for Ukraine's reconstruction totaling $800 billion. Yep, that was also discussed before. Number 10, free trade agreement between Ukraine and the United States. Oh, okay. I think you're stepping over the line here. What about tariffs? What about the money? What about the rare earth minerals? Okay. Ukraine will not seek nuclear weapons. Okay, that's good. What is this? Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. No compromise. The U.S. proposes trilateral management with a key role for the American side. Kyiv's option is joint U.S.-Ukraine management on a parity basis for a nuclear power plant. Okay, just don't do another Chernobyl. Number 13, introduction of educational programs in schools aimed at developing tolerance, intercultural understanding, and eliminating racism and prejudice. Against whomst? You guys are both white. Anyways, 14. Territorial issue. Ukraine's proposal. Russia withdraws from... Oh boy. Dnipropetrovsk, Mykolaiv, Sumy, and Kharkiv regions in Donetsk, Luhansk, and Zaporizhzhia and Kherson regions. Dude, these names. The principle "we stay where we are" applies. Russia demands Ukraine's withdrawal from the Donetsk region. Oh man. Russia demands Ukraine's withdrawal from Donetsk region. Okay, yeah, this is going to be pretty rough. The US proposes a compromise in the form of a free economic zone. If there's no agreement on the "we stay where we are" principle, the free economic zone option is possible only through a referendum in Ukraine, at which the entire document must be put to a vote. What are you talking about here? But anyways, so Russia has to give up some of the land that they took over, which I'm sure they're not going to agree with. And you, okay, wait, what? Okay, I have to pull up a map, honestly, because I don't know which... Oh, dude, how am I even gonna look this up? What do I even look up? First of all, maps. Allow me to go to Russia, Ukraine here. Here's the map, ladies and gentlemen. Some guy from Georgia scammed me, by the way. Kharkiv. What are we saying here? Hold on. How do I... Russia withdraws from... How do I even pronounce this or look this up? And where even is this located? Okay, here we go. This is the Donetsk region. So I don't know what's going on. There's like this weird blender thing of... I have no clue. It's going to be a big issue, this whole territorial one. Like I said before, Ukraine is going to have to give up some land, whether they like it or not, in order for this war to end. It seems like they don't want that, which Russia is not going to accept. Russia's already conquered some land, and they're like, we want to keep whatever we conquered, otherwise no deal. And Ukraine is like, no, we don't want to give up the land. So that's still going to be an issue. Number 14, I'm already seeing problems with. Russia and Ukraine commit to not change the agreements by force. Number 16, Russia will not obstruct Ukraine's use of the Dnipro River and the Black Sea for commercial activity. The Kinburn Spit is to be demilitarized. That's a you problem. An all-for-all prisoner exchange, return of civilians, children, and political prisoners. Yep. Ukraine commits to holding elections as soon as possible after the agreement is signed. Put a time with it. Within 100 days, like the original thing said. The agreement will be legally binding and monitored by the Peace Council, chaired by the US President, based. And number 20, after all parties agree to start to the stated conditions, a regime of a full ceasefire enters into force immediately. Okay, I agree with like 80% of this. The territorial one is going to be a problem. And wait, what is 80% of 20? Is that just 1? Oh my gosh, dude. 20 divided by... No. So I have 4 points to disagree with. What 4 points do I disagree with? Just, no, not this one. The election thing? What are you doing? The election thing, I give us a time thing. Like, you gotta do this within 100 days. The racial thing, like, what are we talking about here? What are you, woke? And I think that's it, really. I don't know, I'm sure there's another thing I disagree with in here somewhere. The NATO and Europe thing, or join the EU, and this NATO part. I disagree with that as well. But we'll see. We'll see what Russia's response is. I'm sure they will not agree with number 14, definitely. So, Something's going to have to happen there. But that's our little update on the Russia-Ukraine situation so far. We do also have some more breaking news about the Trump administration is in talks with former intelligence analyst Edward Snowden for a total and complete pardon, as well as Snowden's return to the United States. I don't think he will, but anyway. If you don't know this guy, he's a really good hacker that went to Russia to flee from the United States because we were trying to jail the guy for leaking NSA data, right? And there was talks about this before, like Trump should pardon Edward Snowden, but it never really happened, and now it's being brought up again. So cool. These talks are being led by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, whom we love, longtime advocate and supporter of clemency for Snowden, who exposed the fact that the NSA had been secretly spying on the communications of American citizens without probable cause for decades after the passage of the Patriot Act in the post-9/11 era. They're saying Edward is not a traitor, he is an American hero and a patriot who revealed the treasonous activity that our government has been engaging in against us in blatant violation of our Fourth Amendment rights. I don't know what the Fourth Amendment is. Tens of millions of us are totally in support of this. This would be perhaps President Trump's greatest act of clemency of all time. Pardon Snowden and bring him home now. We'll see. We shall see. I'm neutral on it. I don't care if he's here or there. We did get some economic data here, apparently. U.S. initial jobless claims. We were expecting 223,000 jobless claims, but we actually got 214,000 jobless claims. Okay. There was this discrepancy that the Fed talked about in their last meeting where it's like, we're seeing the unemployment rate rise, but we're also seeing the jobless claims for like government subsidies not rise, right? They're falling below our expectations, and that's this weird thing where it's like, what's going on here? You're losing your job, but you're not asking for like employment insurance, is what we have here in Canada at least. So how does this work, right? What are the people doing? It seems like the people are confident enough to not ask the government for help while they're looking for a new job because they're confident that they can find a new job. So it's like, okay, well, maybe the job market is okay then. The government shutdown obviously ruined a lot of this stuff. I do want to confirm if this actually did come out because I did not even see it. It did come out. Okay. I know it's for December. Okay. Doesn't this come out like every week? How frequent is the jobless claims? From what I understand, it's every month. I'm pretty sure it is every month, yeah. So yeah, that did come out. Talking about CPI inflation data as well, the quality has rarely been worse. In October, a record 40% of core CPI items were estimated, with 22 percentage points coming from rents and 18 points coming from other commodities and services. Under normal conditions, the BLS measures CPI inflation using 90,000 monthly price observations. I'm not reading all these numbers. This marks the fifth consecutive reading above 30% and more than triple the average seen from 2022 to 2024. Confidence in economic data is eroding, and that is what I want to bring up for our next point over here. There's a rumor going around. Questions are emerging about the credibility of the recent US economic data under the current administration, because I will admit some of it is a bit weird. This huge GDP growth, the sudden drop in inflation, the jobs data, it's all over the place. The shutdown delayed everything. We're delaying all this economic data to after the FOMC meetings. What exactly is going on here? Some investors believe recent US economic data may be presenting an overly optimistic picture. If true, this could matter for markets, and here's why. Over the past week, two major US data points were released, the CPI inflation and the Q3 GDP. Both came in much stronger than expected, but not everyone is convinced the full picture is being shown. CPI data, I'm not going to read the numbers, but on the surface it was very positive. However, some analysts point out that certain components, such as food and shelter-related costs, may have had limited influence due to data collection constraints during the government shutdown. This has led to debate about whether inflation pressures are being understated. Number 2, the GDP. It was the strongest growth that we saw since 2023. Oh my gosh, it's 7 years ago or whatever. Now it's 2023. That suggests a strong economy, but again, there's questions. A significant portion of growth appears to be driven by AI-related investment and intra-sector activity, while personal disposable income growth remained nearly flat. This raises concerns about how broad-based the growth really is. So why aren't markets crashing? The explanation is that markets may already be pricing in these doubts. Currently, we're seeing inflation showing signs of reacceleration and economic growth momentum slowing beneath the surface. Historically, this combination often leads to one outcome, strength in precious metals, which is exactly what we're seeing right now. And that brings us to our next point. Everything is hitting an all-time high. S&P 500, record all-time high, adding $18 trillion in market cap since the April 2025 bottom. Silver, becoming the third largest asset in the world by market cap, surpassing Apple, which is crazy. We were talking about Apple being the second largest company. Okay, well, it's just flipped over immediately. Thanks for ruining the stream, I guess. But yeah, okay, believe me though, at one point, yes, silver did go above Apple. The market caps are pretty close. 4 trillion. Come on, give me a break. We were talking about how Apple was maybe going to be beating Nvidia for this year because those market caps are also pretty close to each other. Imagine if the top assets is gold, silver, and then Nvidia, Apple, Alphabet, etc. Why isn't Bitcoin up here? What are we doing with Bitcoin? This is a joke. 1.75 trillion. What are we doing, dude? Another trillion added to gold's market cap, by the way. No big deal. Trillions of dollars exist. Gold hitting 4,500 for the first time in history, which we saw, up 71% in 2025. Gold added nearly $13 trillion to its market cap in a single year, which is insane. Silver has hit $72. It's up 148% this year. It's the biggest gaining asset this year, out of the bigger ones at least. It's the world's third largest asset it's fighting for that at least between Apple and silver for third place. US S&P 500 just gave its highest daily close in history. In Christmas, Santa rally for it. And it's up 43% since the April year 25 crash lows. Bitcoin is down 30% from its all-time high in October. It's down 13% in 2025. And it's about to close its worst fourth quarter in the last 7 years. While every other asset class is exploding and making historic highs for months, Bitcoin is barely holding support. There's no logical explanation for this. We're claiming it's market manipulation. Okay. We're starting to say it a bit too much, though. I'm starting to not believe the market manipulation. There's got to be something else to it. It can't just be manipulation. I feel like it's too big to be manipulated out. At some point, it's going to have to be like that. We've done the math. If even Satoshi Nakamoto sold, it's not that big of a deal, honestly. Everybody else will get scared and will continue selling and cause a big stink out of it. But really, it's just 1 million Bitcoin. We have another 20 million in circulation, dude. You're fine. Or at least we think we do. I don't know. Give it 15 million Bitcoin. Fine. Between the ones that are the ones that are lost and the ones that haven't been mined yet, etc. Sure. Peter Schiff, he came out of his little hole today to laugh at us. If Bitcoin won't go up when tech stocks rise, and it won't go up when gold and silver rise, when will it go up? The answer is it won't. The Bitcoin trade is over. The suckers are all in. If Bitcoin won't go up, it can only go down. If hodlers are lucky, it won't be a slow death. Okay, pal. Get community noted, by the way. Peter Schiff, a longtime gold advocate and Bitcoin critic, has made similar predictions of Bitcoin's end, collapse, or that the trade is over at least 20 times since 2013. And every time we've always beat him. So this is just another one of those instances. We should be fine. He's often claiming that it has no intrinsic value and will crash permanently. 20 plus of such predictions. And they also posted the Bitcoin deaths chart. Have you guys seen this? I've never shown this to you guys, but it's pretty funny. Come on, where's the chart? Here's the chart. This is the amount of articles posted since Bitcoin's inception about the price of Bitcoin and articles talking about how Bitcoin is now dead. They'll say Bitcoin is dying, why it will fail as a currency is ridiculous, Bitcoin is doomed, Bitcoin is an amazing example of a bubble, Bitcoin is dead, Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme, it's unsustainable, etc. All throughout the years 2015, 16, 18. And this is the price of Bitcoin on each one of those. And here we are today, and people are still talking about Bitcoin is dead. Bitcoin will collapse between 7 to 11 years from now. Peter Schiff talking about Bitcoin. There you go. So much for Bitcoin being digital gold. Yeah, okay. Well, it's just another one added to the pile. I think we're eventually going to surpass all that. Good. One thing to note is that palladium dropped 12% today, which we did look at before. It could be an early signal that a potential top may also be forming in other metals, such as gold and silver. Maybe. Or maybe it's just specific to palladium, people taking profits from it. Fair enough, it did 2x, so good. SEC Chair Paul Atkins, he is saying that the crypto market structure legislation will soon pass Congress, which we are obviously expecting by January for that to happen. This will drop market manipulation by 70 to 80%. And then we can finally, hopefully, get rid of this whole, oh, it's all market manipulation, and that is why we're not rising when gold and silver and every other metal and S&P 500 are hitting all-time highs. Let's just hope that is not the case. That, well, let's just hope that it is the case, that once this market structure bill passes, the market manipulation ends, whatever that means. I do have to look into that a bit more because right now I'm just hearing people talking about it, but I don't exactly know how it's going to end market manipulation. Something to ask Grok. I will do that. Hold on. I got a lot of new papers, so I can finally write more notes. Now I need a paper. This is not good. Dude, okay, no, I need more paper now. Here's, what is this? Oh, my resume. I don't need that anymore. Okay, what was I putting? Grok. I already forgot what I was going to ask. I'll rewind the stream. I have short-term memory loss. Literally, what was I going to look up? Oh yeah, what is the market structure bill? How will it end manipulation? How will market structure bill end market manipulation? Okay, we'll figure out later, and if I do find something, I'll let you guys know. Odds of a recession next year reach an all-time low of 25%. No case for a bear market, in my opinion. We should be fine. Lots of liquidity coming in 2026. You're fine. Asia has been buying the dip, while we here in the West have been selling off. Session level data shows persistent Bitcoin selling during US and Europe trading hours, keeping prices under pressure. Meanwhile, Asia is steadily accumulating on dips. It's the right thing to do. CZ also gives his wise advice. When Bitcoin was at an all-time high, have you ever thought, I wish I bought more Bitcoins earlier? Well, guess what? Those who bought early did not buy at all-time high. They bought when there were fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Merry Christmas. Thanks, CZ. That's financial advice. He's telling you to buy right now. Looks like people are doing it. I'm in the green. Trump Media and Technology Group moves 2,000 Bitcoins worth $174 million across multiple wallets. Why are you doing that? Maybe it's just self-custody. Trump Jr. posted, nothing says Christmas like real-world adoption. USD1, the stablecoin from World Liberty Finance, they're running a massive holiday campaign on Binance, and it is just the beginning. World Liberty Finance is moving fast. Oh yeah? What is up with World Liberty Finance now? They reposted that. What is happening? USD1 holders can now earn up to 20% APR on Binance Earn, limited at 50,000 USD1 per user. That's pretty good. Guaranteed 20% annual return. And max $50,000. And it's a stable coin, by the way. Stablecoin that you should hope that doesn't fail. It means you're getting 10 grand in a year. Hey, that's not bad. If you get your wife, your mom, and your dog to do this, that's maybe like 200k. Dude, I don't know. You do the math. Interesting. We'll see what happens there. I can't do anything about it. But yeah, because I can't access Binance. New pairs arriving. The USD1 ecosystem on Binance. What is up with all this Binance partnership? And is World Liberty Finance even rising? Is USD1 rising? Imagine. This is up 3%. Okay. Where are we? 13 cents. Hitting a high of 17. When did this happen? November 25th. I think I sold over here or something. At one point. I was holding on to this. It might have been here or here. It was after the October 10 crash. Yeah. Well, that's still in a downtrend and validates at 1430. I don't plan on doing anything with World Liberty Finance. I'm waiting for them to, you know, get a lot of regulation out of the way, and also... What else are they doing? The exchange? Weren't they coming out with an exchange? And a wallet? I don't know, something. They got to work more on it, so come on. You've got the money to do it. Do it. They're insider traders. They preemptively sold the October 10 crash. This is not a real country, dude. Canada's offering 12 months of income support to LGBTQI plus refugees upon arrival. Is it true? Yes, it's true. Canada's government-assisted refugees program offers up to 12 months of income support via the Resettlement Assistance Program to resettled refugees, including LGBTQI plus individuals fleeing persecution. I have no comment on this. But yeah, we're prioritizing gay refugees now in our country. There you go. Wonderful. Love it here. Dude, I really need to use the bathroom. It's not bad. Hey, it's good for a Christmas stream. Good to hang out a little bit, cover up all these topics, and get ready for what's next. So tomorrow I won't be streaming. What? I just saw Zcash go up 9%. We're still doing the thing with the rise. Okay, good thing I did it in a short, because I would have been suffering right now. This is kind of what I've been waiting to see. Kind of. Hard kind of. I don't know. I'll wait for it to relax a little bit. But I'll keep my eye on Zcash. Zcash, don't be surprised if I enter a short on this, okay? It might happen soon. If it goes to what I was expecting, like I said, a rise to maybe over here. If not here specifically, then, I don't know, somewhere around this area. As long as it doesn't go above and closes 4 hours above. As long as something like this happens, yes, I will be going short on this. So, to be announced soon. What's with the funding rate, though? Come on. That's cringe. Bitcoin, it seems to be on the rise a little bit, too. 87,861. Did I even mention we had a high of 88,000 today? Yeah, well, that happened. Lowest point today, 87,472. That's all really that happened with Bitcoin. Actually, no, we were lower than that. 86,367. Yeah, this is from today. I'm in a 15-minute chart, so I forgot. Okay. Yeah, not bad. Not bad overall. Low volatility, don't expect too much tomorrow either way. So take the day off, enjoy with the family, and yeah, have some cake, open some presents. I don't know what you people do on Christmas. And yeah, I'll see you on Friday then. We'll see how big this whole contract expiry thing is. So yeah. And then I actually got an email from my workplace about what to expect with starting the new position. I want to figure out... This is pretty funny. Apparently, I don't even know if I should read this. Okay, now the email is just not loading. Thank you. Whatever. My trainer is... He's got a cool name. I'm just going to say that. And that's a compliment. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. Whatever. That's all then for tonight, guys. I really got to go. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you on Friday then, okay? Have a great rest of your evening and Merry Christmas.